Night was falling over the Sea of Galilee. The sky, once painted with warm gold, slowly darkened into deep shades of indigo. After a long day of teaching, the disciples gathered around Jesus. Crowds had pressed against him from morning until sundown, but now there was finally silence. Jesus turned to his friends and said softly, "Let us cross over to the other side." The disciples nodded, not knowing this journey would become a lesson they would carry for the rest of their lives. They pushed their small wooden boat from the shore. The water was calm, almost glass-like, as a gentle wind carried them forward. Some of the disciples smiled, finally able to rest. Jesus, weary yet peaceful, went to the stern of the boat. He lay down, resting his head on a cushion, and within moments he fell asleep. For the first time that day, everything felt still. Too still. A distant rumble rolled across the sky. Peter looked up. John felt the wind shift. Andrew's skin prickled. Dark clouds swept in faster than any of them expected. Suddenly, a violent blast of wind slammed into the boat. Waves rose like walls of water on both sides. The disciples grabbed the edges of the boat as the sea roared against them. Peter shouted, "Hold on!" This storm came out of nowhere. Waves crashed over the bow, drenching them with icy water. The boat groaned as if it might break apart. The Sea of Galilee was known for its sudden, violent storms, but this was different. Wilder, stronger, almost unnatural. Bartholomew clung to the ropes. Matthew held onto the mast. James tried to keep the boat balanced, but wave after wave slammed into them, threatening to swallow the boat whole. Andrew cried out in terror, "We're sinking. We can't survive this." Another wave crashed, nearly knocking John off his feet. And through it all, Jesus slept, calm, still, unaffected. Finally, Peter, overwhelmed with fear, ran to the stern. Grabbing Jesus by the shoulders, he cried out, "Master, Teacher, don't you care that we are perishing?" The boat rocked violently, but Jesus slowly opened his eyes. He stood up, not with fear, but with an unshakable authority. His robe whipped in the wind as waves towered around him and thunder cracked above. And yet, his eyes were calm. Jesus raised his hand toward the raging sea. In a firm, commanding voice, he said, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the wind stopped. The waves fell flat. The sea became silent. The storm obeyed him like a servant obeys its master. The disciples froze, their mouths open in shock. Jesus turned and looked at his disciples, soaking wet, trembling, breathless. He asked them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples glanced at each other, stunned into silence. John whispered, "What kind of man is this, that even the wind and the waves obey him?" They had seen miracles before, but this was different. This revealed a power far greater than they had ever understood. As the boat continued its journey across the now quiet sea, the disciples sat in awe. The storm hadn't been sent to drown them. It had been allowed to teach them, to show them that even in their darkest, most hopeless moments, Jesus was never unaware, never distant, never powerless. This story speaks to us today just as powerfully. How often do we feel like the disciples, caught in a sudden storm we didn't see coming? The storms of life can be just as fierce as sudden illness, the loss of a job, a broken relationship, or a struggle with anxiety and fear. We can feel overwhelmed, like our little boat is about to be swallowed by the waves. We cry out, "God, don't you see this? Don't you care that I'm perishing?" In those moments, it's easy to feel like God is asleep, silent and distant. We work so hard to bail out the water, to hold on, to steer against the wind, all while feeling completely alone. We look at the chaos around us, and our faith begins to tremble. We ask, Where is the peace he promised? Where is the help he said he would give? But the story reminds us of a profound truth. Jesus is always in the boat with us. His silence is not absence. His rest is not indifference. He is present through it all, waiting for us to turn to him. Notice the disciples tried everything they could on their own first. They were experienced fishermen, they knew the sea. But this storm was beyond their skill, beyond their strength. It was only when they reached the end of their own ability that they finally turned to Jesus. And what did he do? He didn't just help them bail water. He spoke to the very source of their fear. He commanded the storm itself to be still. This shows us that his power isn't just to help us endure the storm, but to command the storm. He has authority over the chaos, both around us and within us. When Jesus asked, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" He wasn't scolding them. He was inviting them to a deeper level of trust. He was showing them that their fear came from focusing on the size of the storm instead of the size of their Savior. The same invitation is extended to us. When the waves of life are crashing over you, where is your focus? Are you looking at the wind and the waves, or are you looking at the one who has the power to silence them with a single word? The disciples' question, "What kind of man is this?" is the central question for all of us. He is not just a great teacher or a moral guide. He is the Son of God, the Lord over all creation, the one who holds the universe in his hands. Sometimes, God calms the storm around us. The situation changes, the problem is resolved, the healing comes. We see the winds and waves cease, and we stand in awe of his power. But sometimes, he doesn't calm the storm around us. Instead, he calms the storm within us. He gives us a supernatural peace that doesn't make sense in our circumstances. He strengthens our faith so that we can stand firm in the boat, even as the storm rages on. He teaches us that his presence is more valuable than our comfort. Either way, whether he calms the storm or calms his child, he is always faithful. The purpose of the storm wasn't to destroy the disciples, but to reveal Jesus to them in a new way. And the purpose of our storms is often the same. They are opportunities for us to see his power, his authority, and his love more clearly than ever before. They push us past our own strength and into a total reliance on him. So if you find yourself in a storm today, remember this story. Jesus is in the boat with you. Don't let fear paralyze you. Call out to him, trust that he hears you, that he cares, and that he is in control. He may not answer in the way you expect, but he will answer. He will bring a peace that surpasses all understanding. He is the master of the wind and the waves, and he is the anchor for your soul. Thank you for watching. If this story encouraged you, please like and subscribe for more content that brings faith to life. Stay strong, and remember, you are never alone in the storm.